I, again, thank you for joining me on this really important subject of neurodiversity. Again, I've chosen this one because it's one that presents often through calls to me or through my practice. I honestly would say that 1 in 4 people that come are undiagnosed, neurodiverse, and have been struggling with it all their lives, because a lot of the time they're adults. And they've become anxious, are depressed, are struggling with low self-esteem, and are confused because they thought that they were stupid or failures all of their life. Initially, when I started my work, I would have looked at things from an emotional perspective as a therapist, a psychotherapist. But then I noticed that, hey, maybe I need to look at things a little bit from a broader, I'm a systemic therapist as well, but to look at things more broadly. So I started to kind of look at things from a neurological perspective. So look at their educational history, look at how it was for them when they started school, right through what changes that might have happened then in secondary school, later in primary school, in secondary school, and then right on then into maybe early college. And patterns started to emerge that indicated that many of them had been struggling from a very early age with undiagnosed dyslexia, ADHD, or Asperger's. Though mild, still very, very impactful on their lives. I would send them on then to a professional in the area, a psychiatrist or different psychiatrists, who would then properly, professionally diagnose them. They were so relieved. They were realized, so it's not me? No, it's not you. These people are highly intelligent people, but failed by the system. Expected to fit into the same educational system as other people who are maybe, as we call, neurotypical. What a loss to them. Left feeling like failures because they weren't good at Irish or they weren't good at languages, when they were more suited to more skills type subjects, or subjects that gave them immediate feedback, activity type subjects. Okay, because ADHD is it causes difficulty in the ability to focus or self-manage. Or the Asperger person has difficulty with social skills, but could be very, very advanced and intelligent and want conversations, adult-like conversations. So take the Asperger person, they would have felt different because their peers wouldn't be able to have that conversation with them. So they'd feel isolated and alone and feel that they were failures in some way and become very depressed, but keep it from their parents. And they didn't know how to start a conversation or have that conversation. Or the ADHD person might, or the dyslexia person might not be able to stay focused in school. And particularly, it seems the deterioration seems to happen when they go from primary into secondary, because in primary, see, the ADHD person isn't able to put structure on themselves. So when they're in primary school, they are able to, the school puts structure on them, parents put structure on them. But when they go into secondary school, the structure falls apart because parents and the school expect them to put structure on themselves. But this is when the structure falls apart and yet they're expected to perform. And what's happening is the hyperactivity that's external goes more internal, and their focus becomes more and more difficult for them. And those who were way above average in intelligence in primary school start to deteriorate and become very, very emotionally unwell and become physically unwell and feel very unsupported. And often they keep it to themselves. There's one young man who's presented and he literally got sepsis in 6th year and had been sick for junior cert as well every time there was exams because of the stress of it. He's been recently diagnosed. I don't know how he made it through. But for a 17-year-old who has just presented and she's going for a diagnosis. But it's happening. I'd say that, it wouldn't be unusual for maybe 5 new people a month. So where I'm coming from is that we parents and schools need to open our eyes to difference. I don't see as ADHD as being deficit, I see it as being different. I see Asperger's as being different. And I think we need to open our eyes and embrace that difference and adjust our curriculum to meet the needs of those young people. Because if we don't, I even would wonder if not meeting those needs of those young people, does that lead to some of them taking their own lives? That's a very sad thought. There's a huge link between neurodiversity, not neurodiversity, but ADHD and addiction. And it's really important that we start to do something so that their needs are met. We need to assess and provide the right subjects for these young people so that they come out of school not feeling different, but feeling they have achieved just as much as other people have achieved. Because certain subjects really suit them, as I was saying earlier. Subjects like that are doing subjects. So it could be construction studies, art, maths. 1 + 1 = 2. They need to see a result. Yeah? They need to see logic. Often subjects like Irish, I'm finding, doesn't really suit their brains. I actually know of one child that's actually not going to school at the moment because he can't face actually attending Irish class. So he's actually not attending any subjects. So it's really important that we have a look and see, have a look at our curriculum and meet the needs of these young people. Also, schools competing for points, parents competing for points. I had one parent who said, I know this is awful, but I'm kind of worried about how my kid does because I don't know what I'm going to say to my friend in the office, because their kid is doing their leaving too. You know, so it's like we really have to look at what's really important here. So the reason why I'm talking about this is that, too often am I working with adults who are presenting with, and later on diagnosed with neurodiversity, and had been struggling with all their life and they didn't know, and the relief when they actually find what had been going on for them and how well they do now that they know. And we as therapists need to understand this. Not everything is emotional. It's also neurological if we're really to give our clients support. I have had a number of clients go back to college now that they understand their brains and pick a subject that actually really suits them. Yeah. And generally it is something that is a doing activity, and it's something that gives immediate results. And that's what we need to choose as parents for our children. I hope you tune in to my discussion on neurodiversity, which gives a little bit more detail than this. But again, thank you for joining me, and I hope that you have gotten something from this chat today. Thank you.